Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles in Time. I want to welcome you to my channel this morning. It's the first time I have filmed a video in quite a long time, and I am going to do a flip through today of my latest journal. The journal was done on the concept that I had started, if you watched previous videos, right before the whole leather journal. I had did a concept journal on the path she walks, and so this is the next one in that kind of a concept series. And yeah, the thoughts I have in mind as I make these journals is not only the path, like someone walking, you know, out on a nature walk, walking through a trail, whatever, things that they might collect, like little, you know, rocks and wooden sticks and just various things we collect, but also throughout our lives, kind of our journey. And so anyway, that's kind of the concept I went with on this whole series of journals that I'm doing. So yeah, this is the next one in that series, and her name is Flower. And I do have a little pen of a flower, but it's very subtle, it's very delicate. And I went with more of a delicate pen on this one because I did so much on the cover. So the whole thing with this journal was I've had a lot going on in my life, and I hope I can get through this video before my whole household wakes up. It's been quite a night, but yeah, I have a very chaotic household right now. And anyway, so yeah, the some things had kind of gotten off course with my being able to get into my craft room and craft. My dad, who lives with me, went back into the hospital. He's doing great now. He's home. More heart issues, but anyway, so yeah, I had started, my whole point to that was that I had started this journal a long time ago. So we're going to kind of rediscover some of the things together, because truly the front writing portion of the journal I did so long ago, I don't really remember what all's in there. So we'll kind of explore that together. I'm kind of like, if you've ever watched that 50 First Dates, I'm kind of like the 10-second Tom. My memory is horrible. Yeah, and we joke about that because I really have zero memory. So we'll discover that together. It's fun having no memory sometimes, because you can read a book and like it and then reread it again in 6 months and you don't remember anything about it. Or watch a movie. But yeah, so the outside of the journal is, let me give you measurements. And I won't do real precise measurements. Y'all know that with my journals, things poke out, so it's hard to do precise measurements. But if you're just measuring hardcover to hardcover, we're somewhere around right at 8 inches. And then across, we're somewhere around about 6 1/4 maybe. And then as far as the depth of the journal, it's probably a good 5 1/4 inches. And if I remember correctly, the spine on this one was 3 1/2. So that kind of gives you a idea of perspective here on the size. And on the cover, let's see, where do we want to start? So I had gotten these cool little file metal tabs. I have a bunch of them actually, but they're attached to file folders. And I saw that Sherry with Turquoise Streaming had like a set of 2 of them, you know, very, very inexpensive. I don't know if she has any more, but I went on and just got those because I'm on a mission right now to not buy anything new, because I have so many supplies already in my room that I want to use up what I have. But to me, that was easier just, you know, getting a few from her than to break down my file folders that I might want to use, like I did on this one here, as a press board, because they work really well for that. So I just ordered the standalone, a few of those from Sherry, and I don't know if she has any more. You might want to check her channel out. It's Turquoise Dreaming. She has an Etsy shop and a YouTube. But yeah, I used this metal file tab here. It's triangular, and then I attached a little leather strip with some wooden beads. And I'm just kind of showing you the things that you see from the outside of the journal. So for anyone who wants to give me a hard time about not actually opening the journal until I'm several minutes into a video, stop and realize, please, that I have a lot to cover on just the cover. I put a lot into my exterior of my journals, because to me, they are beautiful when you set them on a coffee table, and they provoke a person to want to look into them and explore. So I like putting a lot on the cover. So sometimes when I take a while to get inside of a journal, you know, I do ramble, and that's fine. It's my choice. That's the way I like to do my videos. or just to live my life. So that's my choice. It's my channel, and yeah, fast forward or mute it or do whatever. But that's who I am. But it takes me a while to go through everything on the outside. So yeah, this is the opening there. This is the cover. There is a frame here that I have chalk painted and glazed and layered with different cheesecloths and stained cheesecloths. There's different book covers here. A little vintage. Oh, this was so thin, so delicate. I used it kind of like a little accent tab between the two different book covers. And then up here at the top, I did one little bitty piece that was left over with this little golden delicate wire with a little pearl bead on it. And I did that because it needed the 3 elements of gold, even though this is more of a brass tone here. But the little flower pin there. And then I had gotten a long time ago, and I don't remember who I ordered them from, but I'd gotten a bundle of vintage pieces of snippets of vintage laces and trims. And the way the lady sent the bundle, whoever it was, she had tied them together. They were beautiful. She had hung a little button with a pin like that, and it just totally inspired me on the front of this journal to do, kind of to frame out how beautiful that was. Let me see if I can reach one of the bundles so that you can see kind of what I'm talking about. So yeah, this was how the bundles came, and she had them pinned, and on some of them she had like this little, I think I had gotten 3, and she had like on one of them a little rope tied around it. So that was what I did there. So I just kind of replicated what the top of that bundle looked like, and then I added this little delicate pin on it. And that's, to me, that's fun. So look around your room and or your house and find things that just are inspiring to you. If it's something you love, work it into a journal if you can, because you'll love it. So yeah, that's the cover. I'm trying to think if I've left anything off. So yeah, the brass number tag I have layered on top of a wooden piece of like a strip of wood. It was this. It looks like it's been kind of burned on the end. And yeah, I break off, this is all I have left, and I break off these little pieces to use sometimes on journals. And again, it's just kind of something different that catches the eye. And then the lace on the bottom, and if you lift the lace up, you can still see the book covers, and just some layering I've done there. I didn't do a lot of layering between the books like I normally do, because to me, with the big pieces, it was just enough. So there's a little piece of vintage style paper there peeking out, a little bit of burlap, and then we've already talked about that. And then the corners are just worn and grunged up. I chose not to put corner protectors on there because it added to the beauty of this, in my opinion. And then here I put one of the hagstones that I had gotten when I was in Florida, and I just tied it onto that metal clip. From the top, it looks like this. The spine, I used some of the amazing pieces that Dee at the paper drawer gifted to me, and I love them, and I oftentimes either use them running down the page, the edge of a page in a journal. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see it better, or on a spine, and sometimes even down the center of a journal cover. And then I used leather. I cut some leather and just made some straps. They're not functional, they're just for looking at. And then the back side of the book looks like this. I'm going to lay it down so you can see it a little better. And the buttons that I used to attach these leather straps on, they're like ostrich, I think it said ostrich shell, I guess eggshell buttons. Let me show you. Let's see if I can find my little strand of them. They're falling off of the strand, so I'll show you what they look like. They come on a strand like that when I bought them, and I've had them a really long time. But you can probably do a search, I would think. But they're really cool, and I use those a lot of times. I think they're a really neat accent piece. So they're on the front here, and then as we get into the journal, you'll see the other side of where I ran like different buttons on the other side. From the outside of the journal, I did want to point out the center signatures, or the centers of these signatures in the writing journal, I've hung a little wooden cross. I thought it tied together with the wooden beads that are hanging there. So there's a wooden cross and a dragonfly. On one side it's gold, and I kind of like the gold side showing, but it's also just as pretty on the white side because there is so much white popping out on this journal. And then the big art journal portion has a cross with rope wrapped around the metal ends there, and a antique looking bell. And that's the outside of the journal, I believe. I think I covered everything, so let's go ahead and open her up. So on the inside, I used a little writing journal, and again, I don't remember what else in this journal, so we'll kind of go ahead and explore that now. I do remember that this is an old book spine. It was not part of the book spines of either of these, any of these journals used in this, but it is a very old book spine. And I chose to put a little pocket down the front cover of this book because while I love the book itself, it's just old and so cool. There's actually writing on the back side. Of course, I've had to rotate that around in order to, it's just how the book is construction. So the writing, I do remember this, that there's very faint writing there, but it is upside down because I have to rotate that book around. That makes no sense, I'm sure, but it's part of the construction process of the journal. And so I used an old file folder there with the tabs showing and all kinds of the vintage laces and trims. And then I layered on top of that this vintage book spine. And then I just put some old postcards inside the pocket. I kind of, this was pretty from either direction. I was playing with that yesterday, but I kind of like the postcard part showing. So I chose to put it in kind of backwards. And then this old piece of a newspaper, I just kind of slid in there to, I thought the writing wasn't super pretty on this postcard, but the stamping was and the picture was. So just kind of covering the writing up with this, like that. And that's the outside of the writing journal. And then as we open it up, I've layered the inside of the spine with some upholstery fabric. And this beautiful vintage trim here on this page. I'm getting so low on this, and I'm so sad. This is one of my favorites. And I probably, since I made this so long ago, I probably had more of it then. And then looks like I made some little tabs on all the different unusual pages with different stamps. There's a carriage, a buggy carriage. I don't know how well it shows up on camera. Some vintage fabric, and then down the edge of this paper I ran some twine and just kind of knotted it on the end. Oh, I'm sorry y'all, that's my dad's phone ringing in there and there's nothing I can do about it. This probably isn't to wake him up though, so this video is probably going to have to get paused. And then some of these pages actually fold out. This is beautiful trim. It has some pale blue. That probably doesn't show up well on camera, but it's so pretty. I'm so sorry about that phone ringing. I have no control over that. So this is a piece of a folder, and I did not make this. This came in some, I believe, in some Happy Mail or something. And it looks like a piece of Edith Holden paper. And then I just kind of slid it in there to where the top of the tab overlaps the folder like that. And then a little flower tab. Oh, and these are some of the end pages of a book with old beautiful writing on it. I do remember this part. I used this as the signature. And I think that book spine, if I remember correctly, came off of this book. I'm not positive, but I think so. There's writing there. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera, but it is beautiful handwriting. I don't know how our society lost that beautiful calligraphy style of handwriting. There's those charms that you can see from the outside of the journal. The other really cool bookend pages. So these were two attached, and then I hinge them with fabric to help hold them together. And yeah, it looks like that fabric has writing on it. I do not remember that fabric, but I love it. So I don't know. Another little tab. On the inside of this one, I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember if I put anything in this one, to be honest. Yeah, there's, oh, it's a prescription, an old vintage prescription. I can't even read that date. Very cool. And then I just clip it. It has the little metal tab, but you know over time those start to break and wear down if you open and close them too much. Here's another piece of the paper where I ran some twine down it. Here's a, for this one I used, I don't know how well that shows. I think if I catch the light you can see it better. And then I ran this little string on the outside of that so that it pokes out and is kind of an extra layer when you're looking at the outside of the journal. I think this is a calendar page. I don't really remember where I got these, but I think it might have been meditative scrapbooking. I can't remember, but I think it's Russian. Vintage fabric there, and it's actually coming apart. This is some type of old stamp here, and flips open like that. And I think we're about to the end. This is some beautiful trim that layers out and shows when the journal is closed. And then I already showed you the back cover of that with the pencil writing on it. These are the buttons that are on the other side of those leather straps that I stitched to the back side when I ran the straps through. And so they just kind of add just a little pop of a layer behind that beautiful trim. And then we'll move over into the art journal. So on the front page, I did put a little pencil in, and I actually lined this with some thicker paper so that you could take this out and put a paint brush in, or a pen if you are gonna, you know, journal or paint or write in this journal or whatever. You can put whatever supply you use to do that, slide it right into there, and it's just layering with some paper and beautiful lace and old lace, and then a piece of a ruler that is scrunched up, a wooden ruler. And then on the side I just kind of haphazardly added this piece of an edging off of some fabric, and I did it in a wonky way to where it narrows down at the bottom and hangs out at the journal so that you see it. And then I kind of knotted those strings up. They can be snipped off, but I like the layer it adds to the outside. And I did some little stitching there. And then as you open that up, I do put little weighted zipper pulls on these to help keep them kind of weighted over like that, because otherwise they kind of bunch down. They still do a little bit sometimes, but this does help to weight them over if you kind of sling it over like that. Plus it shows from the outside, but I use these old zipper pulls. I have a ton of them, if you're interested in purchasing any. I think I have a few in my Etsy shop, but it's always better to reach out to me on my email. It's scribblesintime@gmail.com, and just message me if you see anything in here that you're interested in that I might have excess of. If I do have excess, I will definitely let you know. And here, this is I just slid this down in the pocket, and there is a piece of a tabbed card here, like an index card size with a tab on it. And then this was inspired by a video I watched, but it's been, again, a long time ago, and I don't remember who, but yeah, I made this a long time ago. So I'm sorry if I'm sure there's a lot of videos out there with that kind of thing in there, but if I'm sorry, I'm forgetful on whose video it was. But I kind of put that clip there to help hold that. The key still wants to slide over, but it helps keep that whole thing from sliding over and, you know, getting in the way of the journal. And then let me hold that up so you can see. These tabs had the alphabetical divisions on them for their filing system, so I love those. And then the center of this signature, I've run some fabric down, I've tied in a piece of pretty trim, and then this is where that cross is hanging out. Some pom-pom trim there. This is all watercolor paper, by the way. It's pretty thick. It's perfect for collaging on because it's sturdy. This is a perfect spot to collage. Sometimes if your collages get heavy, you can just run another piece of paper onto the back of it to help give it stability. I do run fabric down the center of all of my pages so that they are stable. In case you're water painting and water is dripping down, I like to have that extra stability on there. And then at the other side of that, and I've put another zipper pull on there with some strips of I don't know what this is. It's some type of cording or something. It's not waxed. This is a small page. I like to do the small pages so that you can attach a whole page onto this. But for right now, I ran a belly band with this beautiful rock trim and crystals. Let me hold that up so you can see that better. It's so pretty in person. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but it's so pretty. And I just like that it added that kind of a whimsical punch of color and pizzazz. And then I slid this button card, and I don't remember who sent me this. This was, I think, also Happy Mail or something. I don't know. At some point I received this, and I'm sorry that I don't remember from who, but I think it's a digital. I don't really know. And then whoever did it sewed some buttons onto it, and it looks like there's places to add buttons, so it would be really cool to add your own, you know, vintage style buttons. I think that's pretty. I don't do a lot of digitals, so I can't give anyone credit. I'm sorry for that. This is another tab, like a file folder tab, and it has the green on that. Let's see. And then, oh, and inside of that I tucked another piece of Happy Mail that I had received. And then a beautiful placemat. This is one side of it. And then I put a bag in here. Inside of the bag there's a another tab with Tennessee on it. And I put that in there like that because I thought whoever gets the journal, if they want to add this as part of a collage or a pocket on a page, they can then do that. But I just thought it was really cool. I started to attach, I almost attached it, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to slide that out to where it shows like a tab right there. But they can choose to use it wherever they want. And then I put one of the hinged, I had a hard time letting go of this. so let me hold it up so you can see her. But she is old, and she is hinged. Her little arms are hinged. And I didn't want to glue her on because, again, I just didn't want to mess with the integrity of her. But she is so pretty, so cool. And so I tied her on to it. I made a cluster and tied her onto the cluster, and then attached it to the bag, so that if anyone wanted to remove it, that can be snipped off and this can be removed. I just didn't want to mess with the integrity of her. She is so cute, and I hope she's showing up well on camera. And then a coffee stained fabric tag there with some collaging on that bag. What am I at on time? Okay, so we're at 23 minutes, so this is a press board, and I used it making one of the file folders with the metal tab. And so I folded the file folder, ran a stitch down it, and made a pocket. And I put this really cool card inside of that. I've held on to that for a long time. Again, this was kind of trying to let go a little bit. When I'm going through the path she walks, I like to kind of pull things I've collected. So there's that, and it's hard and firm. I folded it in a way that it would fit and still kind of give dimension to the journal by poking out, but it is hard and firm, so it can be used as a press board to put behind your pages as you're writing or working. And then on the center of this signature is where I've run the fabric and added a little tie and that bell. And this is just where I poked this little press board for now, but it can be moved all around the journal, so that's just where I stuck it. And here there's some just vintage papers that can be used in a collage. This one's pretty brittle, but it can be used in a collage. So I just kind of, and I lined the inside of this bag with muslin to make it feel more like a purse kind of pouch, if that makes any sense. And then the other side of the placemat, and it just has pretty stitching around it. I just did this collage the other day. Let me hold that up. So I did it on the back side of a file folder, and the file folder already had writing on it. I left that alone. I thought it was really cool. It looks like somebody scribbled through it and everything, but I liked it. Of course, you can put a sticker label over that if that's not your thing, but I liked it like it was. And I kind of went with the concept of the whole going through a rabbit hole. I did just a lot of layers of fabric and then tore holes in the layers and folded them over on themselves. See, like that. And so there's just layers of fabric that are torn and folded over onto themselves. And then I put a piece of like acetate inside the opening. And there's a pin there, very pretty pin, very dainty. And then I slid an old photo in here, but I did leave this open so that someone can take that photo out and put their own photo in there. See, it's a very small opening, but you can slide the photo out and change out the photo. So that's how that is. And then when you flip this over, this is the back of the journal. And I did forget to put my little Scribbles in Time logo right there. I usually do that. I'll try to remember to go back and do that. But again, this has been done in stages and out of order. These are some little notepads that, again, I don't even remember where I've had this in my little stash for a long time, and I have a whole stack of them. But just cute little notepads. Whoever made it did a very cute job. I think I bought them off of eBay. I can't remember. But I went with pink on this one because I thought it kind of tied into the little pink that's in those flowers right there. And then these buttons here are the back sides of the leather strip that's attached to the back. And then this is the spine, that the fabric that was used on the spine of the art journal. And a denim pocket, and then it's just layered behind it with burlap and this really cool cross stitching. And that does show when the journal's closed, and I just like it. So here I just put in one of my little pinafore cards that I have, and I have a ton of these. If you're interested in any of these, email me and I'll work up a bundle based off of, you know, what your allowance is for that. And there's a tab on the top with trim, and then a penny with a cross punched out of it, and the pinafore card, which I think is just as pretty from that side. Oftentimes I think this side is actually prettier than the other side. A lot of these have like sailors on them. Let me see if I can grab one out of my drawer and I'll kind of show you the different pictures. They have different women, sailors, all kind of pictures. There's the sailors, there's a sailor. They're just really cool cards. And yeah, if you are interested, just let me know, but I'm not going to go through and hand pick out the cards. So anyway, that is the end of the journal. You've already seen the back. I thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And again, my email is scribblesintime@gmail.com. At any point, I'm liable to accidentally give out my private email, so I have to be careful. If I did it, oh well. But anyway, it's scribblesintime@gmail.com. I would love for you to comment below. Please, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Those who are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. And those who have commented, please know that I read your comments. I love your comments. I do not get into a position often where I can reply to them. I'm going to try to do better. I have had a lot going on in my life, and I always have that excuse because I feel like my whole life is always that way. But so I apologize if I don't always make it over to respond to your comment, but I promise I read them. I take them to heart. I love them, and I love you all. Have a great day and have a blessed